The lady yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Hunt.
Hey, Mr. Chairman. College and free speech go hand in hand. And college is meant to be a place where students are safe to express ideas and confront ideas that they may or may not necessarily agree with. We've heard for years about microaggressions and how silence is violence. And colleges have spent years condemning and monitoring speech as they deem dangerous. But when actual physical threats of violence occur, do colleges know how to react? Under the logic of the left, microaggressions are hate speech, but physical threats of violence can be free speech depending on if the group being threatened is not oppressed enough. It appears that colleges have labeled everything hate speech but hate speech itself. They claim to be committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion, but the dirty little secret is that there is a hierarchy of oppression within a DEI club. And colleges fail to act when they consider these less oppressed groups to be threatened. Tragically, universities have put their responses to free speech under the DEI lens, and oftentimes that lens fails to respond to threats for fear of angering the DEI gods. I went to Cornell. I earned 3 master's degrees in 4 years from Cornell. I went to Johnson, IRLR School, and a master's in public administration. I graduated in 2015. I didn't see any of this when I was there. I cannot believe what has happened over the course of the past year. The threats to you, ma'am, are pretty disgusting. It is not just happening at Cornell, it's happening all over the country. These attacks are not just coming from students. A week after the horrendous Hamas attacks on Israel on October the 7th, Cornell professor Russell Rickford said at a rally, challenged the monopoly of violence, and that terror attacks against defenseless Jews were exhilarating and energizing. I have a motion to submit to the record a letter from Cornell President Martha Pollack addressing that issue, sir. According to this letter, Professor Rickard's punishment is that was placed on this person was a leave of absence for the duration of the academic year while the university is considering whether or not his personal opinions demonstrate an unfitness to serve. An unfitness to serve. That's it. This man was praising Hamas attacks on Jews, and there needs to be an investigation as to whether or not this guy displayed a fitness to serve. I think this response from Cornell demonstrates the problem going on in our institutions of higher learning today, and I have a sneaking suspicion that if this professor made these hateful statements against Muslim students, black students like me, or trans students, the professor would have been out of a job immediately. No investigation. I dare anybody in this room to tell me I'm wrong based on what we see from Ivy League schools in the past few years. As a Cornell alum and a father of 3 children, I can guarantee you that if this is how this university is going to approach anti-Semitism, my children will not be attending Cornell. Whenever we have this kind of behavior and people don't step up and call it out for what it is, we have students that then make comments like Patrick Dye. He said, if you see a Jewish person on campus, follow them home and slit their throats. Rats need to be eliminated from Cornell. Interesting. He also said, rape and kill all the Jew women before they birth more Jewish Hitlers. I'm a combat veteran. I've seen a lot. I've heard a lot. I'm an Apache pilot, so you could imagine some of the things I've seen in combat. Hearing things like this really boils my blood because it shouldn't be happening to students like you. I've been black for my entire life. I've been as conservative probably about as long as I've been black. Ms. Jordan, thank you for being here. It's okay to be black, and you don't ever be a black conservative, and you don't ever have to put up with anybody telling you differently. This is America. I fought for these freedoms, and you have the right to think however you want to think and express it the way that you see fit without prosecution. Ma'am, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. The text messages that I have gotten from my Jewish friends and colleagues that actually took me to Israel twice while I was at Cornell during Passover to learn about their culture, I promised them that I would defend them. I promised them that I would defend their rights, and we will continue to do just that. We are not going to rewind this clock back to 1930, not on our watch. I really appreciate your bravery. Thank you so much for being here, and I yield back the rest of my time.
Gentleman yields.